deeper comprehensive reflexive action and analysis is required. But most research and reporting done to date suggests that the Arab Spring was a product of people under 40, you, not me, who took up Twitter as their arms. According to that modern online research tool, you may have heard of it, Wikipedia, which, by the way, we would have been prevented in using in my day, because at Appleby we had a computer instructor, as Dave and Will and others will remember, called Chippy Mitchell. Chippy taught us about microchips, thus the name, and computer programming. We didn't have Wikipedia. That's my bitterness. Now, the Arab Spring, as defined by Wikipedia, is a revolutionary wave of demonstrations of protests occurring in the Arab world that began in December 2010. To date, rulers have been forced from power in Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, and Yemen. Civil uprisings have erupted in Bahrain and Syria. Major protests have broken out in Algeria, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Morocco, and Oman. Minor protests in Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, the Sudan, and the Western Sahara. Clashes at the borders of Israel in May 2011, as well as protests by the Arab minority in Iranian Khuzestan, and a rebellion in Mali have also been inspired by the regional Arab Spring, while the Malayan coup d'etat has been described as fallout. The protests, and this is the important part, have shared techniques of mostly civil resistance and sustaining campaigns involving strikes, demonstrations, marches, and rallies, as well as the use of social media to organize, communicate, and raise awareness in the face of state attempts at repression and internet censorship. So there you go. Wikipedia has spoken, and emphatically so. The Arab Spring mattered. Change happened. From spring came summer. Summer brought us Occupy. Now, to me, the most confusing form of agency is the Occupy movement. As anybody who knows me knows, I will use every occasion to use a Newfoundland reference. I've done 2 already. I think here's another one. So this past Friday, Good Friday, when I took my break from church, I went out for a run in St. John's. And I noticed these 5 young people with placards at the site of the Newfoundland Occupy camp. Yes, we have an Occupy camp. The one sign I remember reading through my shower of sweat, and believe me, it is normally a shower of sweat. Look at me, it's amazing I'm not drenched right now. And this was fascinating. I'm running, try not to look at them too much. You know what it's like, you don't want to make eye contact. Anyway, there's one kid with this sign that says, "We're ready to fight." Okay, it's like 6:30, Good Friday, 5 people standing there. Prosperous, rich, have province of Newfoundland. In case you didn't hear that, prosperous, rich, have province of Newfoundland, not Ontario. Standing there saying, "We're ready to fight." Ready to fight for what? In Newfoundland. I mean, we've won every fight. I mean, we're a have province. We've got lots of employment. Many of our young people are maximizing their talents and worldwide from professional sports, Cleary on the Red Wings, medicine, broadcasting. You can't turn on a TV and there's not some smart aleck Newfoundlander in their face lecturing at you. To business, we have business leaders all over the world, but they're ready to fight. I don't know what they're ready to fight for, but they're ready to fight. I might be projecting an opinion. But my head scratching about Occupy aside, we did some research. Now, it wasn't mentioned in the introduction, not Nolan's fault, not blaming anybody. We also own a public opinion company. The CEO of our public opinion company, a millennial, just turned 30. Everybody in that public opinion company is under the age of 30. I don't understand them, but that's okay. Anyway, they have become very fascinated with Occupy. So they did some research. They've done 2 tracks of research on Occupy. This is the most recent, fresh one. You're the first to hear it here. They came up with this, which I find astounding. More Canadians have a favorable opinion of the Occupy moment than in December 2011. but slightly less than October. Now, you'll remember it was at its height in the summer, so in October it would have been higher. But overall, this is a strange but strong number. 39% of Canadians have a favorable opinion of the Occupy movement now, compared to 30% in December 2011 and 41% in October 2011. 39 and 41 are important numbers in Canada. Anybody have an idea as to why? Any numerologists here? Everybody's still awake? Yeah, for the most part. Anybody know why 39 and 41 are important? Okay, nobody does, so I'll have to answer my question. You win elections, you win federal elections with 39% of the vote or 41% of the vote. You can get majority governments. So you have the same percentage of people who elect a majority government, like the Harper government, saying that the Occupy movement makes sense. This is also interesting. Most Canadians consider themselves neither supporters nor opponents, how very Canadian, of the Occupy. I don't stand for anything, but I'm neither nor. Nearly 2/5 were neither supporters nor opponents of the Occupy movement. 28% were supporters and 20% were opponents. Anyway, you look at the whole range of math, there are more people supportive, less outrage. Again, a track that works. Now, back to St. John's, back to the story. Occupy seems to be a collage of young faces. Canadian political parties, particularly the Liberals and the New Democrats in the national stage, look to channel their anger that these people have to their organizations as formal vehicles of representation in the established political process. Those parties, I think, miss the point that most of what is established is the problem, not the solution to the occupiers. Now, whether Occupy is about giving 99% a voice or an adjustable buffet table of selected tasty outrages, yes, I have an opinion on it, sorry. It seems to set an agenda, which has the potential to shape outcomes and set the policy that governs us. Now, the fascinating thing remains, is this a sustaining force or a random summer of love activity? But the Arab Spring and Occupy do show that when young people want to change the status quo, they can, albeit the degrees are different. But what matters is being involved in something that is important to you. It doesn't have to be put off until you are in your 30s, have a job, and want to make change. You can do it now, though I am still sure that fellow is down there wanting to fight in St. John's. If he goes up to George Street, he'll have a better chance, which is our bar district. Of course, you would not know that. Now, I don't want to slide into a commencement address here and get all Steve Jobs on you. I don't have his money, so I can't. But I do want to say a few things before we leave here. Remember that being involved is better than not. First point. Second, giving a damn and asking questions is better than being apathetic. The third point, make a difference. And I hope you will in a moment when we open the floor to questions. Don't sit on the sidelines and complain. Do something. Now, finally, I'd say you can find your own David Howie here at Appleby. If you can, do it. I had a wonderful dinner conversation with Brendan and Patrick and Dave and Will, and it's refreshing for me as a alum to come back to this school and see the talent that you have here, who put so much and give so much to you. If you take one thing from the school, take some of their mentorship. The faculty here is top-notch. What you learn here can influence the way you approach things. My hope for you is that you were as fortunate as I was. I'm going to stop there, take questions. That's 35 minutes. You're doing remarkably well. Who would like to debate me?